Hello everybody, my name is Hunter Hero, and welcome to my Eldlich zombie deck profile. I actually took third at locals today with this thing, and I had a hankering to stop playing Invoke Shadal Dogmatica, so I threw this together. Sorry, the extra deck doesn't all share a sleeve type, but it's kind of really fun. This format's shaping up for this deck to be really good, so I look forward to seeing how well this does, but enough yammering. I tend to talk a lot about how my deck works at the start of this and don't get right into the deck profile, so let's hop into it. With the best normal summon in the deck. 3 copies of Uni Zombie. I normally... you want to see this as often as you want. Everybody knows what this thing does, but for those of you who live under a rock, this thing can increase levels. It's a tuner by sending zombies, so that's all fun and interactive. Sending zombies from hand, and then he has a secondary effect if you're playing a little bit of a different variant. If you send any from the deck, you can't summon anything but zombies, so you can't go into Halky Fun Facts combos, but I'd barely make the thing anyway, but yep, that's Uni. Now here's where we already hit the weird numbers. We have 1 Solitaire, 1 Gozuki, and 1 Mizuki. For one, I couldn't find my extra Solitaires in Mizuki. And second of all, right now this format, other than Solitaire being the debatable normal summon, these two kind of suck. I mean, I'm summoning this a lot off of the Eldlich cards, but we'll get to those when we get to those. But Solitaire is probably the one that I'd probably bump higher if I had the space. This is an even 40 list, which is pretty rare if you've watched any of my profiles prior, but it's pretty good. I mean, everybody knows why these two are creating an issue, and Solitaire's just busted on his own, but yeah, if any of these were to go up, it would be Solitaire. For the stuff from the Zombie World structure deck, we got 2 Bloom, 2 Banshee, and 2 Doom King Baylordrock. I wouldn't play any of these at 3. Maybe the Banshee, but doesn't come up often enough for me to warrant it. There is a way to loop these. I'm pretty sure I did it. I used to do it with, yeah, okay, that's how I did it. Essentially, when you banish this, and you summon Omega in the same turn, you can put it back in the graveyard in Omega's place, and then get an immediate free summon off of it. So, it's pretty busted. This thing protects and activates your Zombie World from deck by banishing itself, which means that this thing is really hard to interact with, and you can't ash it, so... And then we have the bread and butter. This thing. Doom King Baylordrock is really dumb. If you don't know what he does... he summons himself every standby phase if there's a field spell. And then if another zombie activates his effect, you can either negate that effect or banish a card from the field or the graveyard, and it doesn't target. So that means that you can use this thing to out-dragoon, as long as you chain block with it. It's so cool. It's genuinely really good. It can't chain with itself, though, but there's other ways to get interaction out of it, and I'll show you just what I mean. With Jackabolin. This thing is fantastic. A free summon by pitching a zombie, plus the quick effect to tag into a zombie that you just desperately need on your opponent's turn is really good. I was more using this thing as an extender than anything else, but I mean, do with it as you will. I really like it. Alright, and then Lord. I wouldn't play 3. He's really bricky if he ever shows up in your hand. He's really the most consistent inconsistency in the deck. So, yeah, only 2 Lord. Anyway, you have ways to summon him anyway, so. Behold, the bread and butter. 3 Zombie World. This thing is so good, this format. Talk about the best floodgate. Changing everything in your opponent's graveyard to zombies is mostly what you want this for, other than the fact that this enables the other package that we're playing. We'll get to that when we get there, but yeah, no, this thing is busted. It really messes up dinosaurs, it messes up Bird Up and Tri Brigade. This thing is phenomenal. I love this thing. Alright. Oh, just knocked the camera. Way to go. Pro video quality here, I promise. Okay. 3 Cursed Eldland. Rhoda. It's super good. Almost required for the deck, though, because you want to see Eldlich the Golden Lord as often as you can. Eldlich are black, white, and then the 7 cities. So the 7 cities, I'll explain in just a minute, so we'll talk about that last. A lot of lists don't play these. I personally like seeing them. Black Awakening summons one zombie from deck as long as you control Lord, or summons Lord from hand or deck. This one summons from hand or graveyard. This thing has come up more often than this or Scarlet has. And I kind of like the versatility of this one being a quick play spell card, so I'm mostly setting this if I already have Scarlet, or if I'm trying to resolve Scarlet, so... and then we're going to talk about this. A great fusion spell for the archetype that you can send off a Golden Lord, and it stuns back row, so for, like, Monkey Flip. Yeah, no, this thing's actually really good. Nope. Sorry about the camera quality, I'm recording in a different area, but yeah, no, this thing is ridiculous. Alright, here's the bread and butter. 3 Super Poly. I prefer this over the Rivalry lock, because the Rivalry lock is really inconsistent. I prefer the Super Poly variant, because at least this way you can, now the same thing could be said for, the Rivalry lock, but essentially you can pitch this for Golden Lord, and you still get value off of it. I just prefer this one over over Rivalry, because this one doesn't stop me from going into any extra engines I need to push for game. So, when we get to the extra deck, there's a couple of things I'd like to change in that, but this was definitely the better way to go, especially right now with how the format's going. Because if they out your Zombie World, then Rivalry becomes useless, this thing still actually sees use. Then we have our generic cards, Foolish Burial, Upstart, and Terraforming. I don't really need to explain any of these. We're playing a zombie deck, and most everything plays Foolish anyway. Upstart for the free card, and Terraforming for the free search for Zombie World, especially since we don't have 3 Banshee. So, pretty self-explanatory. And then we got our trap cards, our Eldlich traps. Nothing should be too exciting here. And then you saw the last guy, Guardian. So we have 3 Elixir of Scarlet, 3 Conquistador, 3 Hawkwarrow, and 1 Guardian. If you know how Eldlich works, you know that this is your gravy. So this is all that you need to get this thing to go where. Summons from deck or graveyard, and then banishes to set any of these. And then pops, banishes, and then this one's just personally attack or something for on the back foot. Essentially, Guardian, what it does is that it, other than setting Elixirs like the other two do, this one sets a monster's attack to 0, but it doesn't target, so this thing can help you out things like Dragoon when you struggle to get over it through battle, which is something this deck has an issue with, and you don't see your Super Poly. So, most of the time you're going to be sending this off a Golden, Cursed Eldland, but it still comes up occasionally, and it's 25, so, I mean, a lot of decks that just go Unga Bunga struggle to get over this, so... yeah, so I think that's a pretty satisfactory main deck. Again, if you have anything you'd like suggest, you know, for this list, don't feel afraid to shoot me some suggestions. I mean, I'm still learning a lot about this particular deck, but, I mean, whatever you can suggest, I'll probably listen to within reason. But, yeah, so enough about the main deck. Let's get on to that extra. Sorry, again, they don't match. So, we got 2 suckers. Frankly, the third one didn't come up at all during locals at all today. But I honestly probably would play the third, if I had one. I probably have one sitting around here, but, this thing essentially just enables all your Baylor Drock plays, so this thing is almost essential if you're forced to go second and they just don't hit any of your plays. You want to make sucker as fast as you can. This thing is just really good, and it also draws you cards, so that means it's an extra consistency boost, plus allowing Baylor Drock to, like, banish or negate something else, so really fantastic card. Alright, then we have all Super Poly targets. Most of these shouldn't, this one's probably the one that is, like, the most iffy. I'd probably cut this one the most. But, Starving Venom, Nether Soul, the Mad Golden Lord, Mud Dragon of the Swamp, and then this guy. So, out of all these, I summoned these 3 the most, obviously. The Mud Dragon is just a tech choice. And then this guy was just here because I was trying to read the locals a little bit, and I thought there'd be more darks, but that didn't turn out to be the case. But, yeah, so if anything's were to get replaced, I think I'm going to be playing a second Nether Soul over this, because I've been making the Nether Soul a lot, but... and then the rest of this is just, like, generic fluff. Like, I think out of everything that's necessary in the extra, this is it. Like, the rest of it's pretty much just tech choices, but I'll show you what I played at locals and what, you know, what worked and what didn't. So, Link Karibo, Nightmares, Phoenix and Serbs, Halki Fibrax, Topologic Trizbana, Boar Sword, Boros, and Sci-Flame Lord Omega. The rest of this extra deck is really flexible. The only thing I probably wouldn't stinge on is the Linkuriboh, because if you're stuck with Glow Up Bloom as your only normal summon, Linkuriboh is your best way to get a search for like Golden Lord, because most of the time that's what happened, is that you opened Bloom and a bunch of back row. So Linkuriboh is probably one of those. Another I'd probably call an essential for the deck, but like the rest of this is legitimately just tech choices. The Hellkit Fibrax I only summoned once, and that was because I needed the Bloom to hit the board so I could get a free summon. So its choice in the deck is kind of suboptimal. The Nightmares, I didn't summon at all because the matchups that I could have tried to summon them in, Dytron kind of locked me out of, but the Phoenix definitely come up less than the Serbs, actually, for once, but again, tech choices. The two Topologics, I was thinking I was going to get a lot of use out of today, but again, most of the time I was beating people to death with the monsters in my main deck, so I wouldn't invest very highly into Link monsters other than Sucker. If you guys have any other suggestions other than like Super Poly targets for these extra deck cards, please, again, send them my way. I'm always looking for new stuff to play, and we'll see. If you give me like a decent enough thing, I'll probably update this deck profile if the new cards give me a better standing than third. But we'll have to see how the format shakes up from here. The new ban list changes a lot of things, but these two did not do anything. I didn't make this. I wanted to. This probably was going to be access code, actually, but I was loaning that to somebody else, so it's just kind of a placeholder. It really didn't do anything either. I, again, was mostly main deck beatdown, so again, tech choices. And then this actually was something that, when I made it, I won the game. I wouldn't say that is a end-all, be-all, but Omega is fantastic. Because essentially, when you go to make Omega, if my camera would stay in focus, when you go to make Omega, you're using Glow Up Bloom, and if you have Zombie World, which makes this thing a zombie, you can use Bloom to summon Doom King, and then use this, banish itself to rip a card out of your opponent's hand, put the Bloom back into your graveyard, banish a card on their side of the field, the Bloom then banishes itself again to summon another zombie from deck. It's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure, is that a quick effect? Yeah, so during the standby phase, you rip a card out and then you put the Bloom back, so you get some bonkers advantage out of it. By far, this is my favorite way to play this deck, is using Omega on top of everything else to loop. So, this is another one I probably wouldn't cut. Making it's a bit difficult sometimes, but if you can make it, do it whenever you can. It gives you just so much advantage in this deck. It's unreal. But yeah. Overall, I think this deck is really good, especially going into the next format. Be careful, some people are calling out the fact that this deck is going to be good, so again, those tech choices really start to come up when people start to figure out the format. But, I mean, that's about it for my zombie deck profile. Again, let me know what you guys think, or not. It's your life, not mine. But thanks again for watching, and have a good night.